A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Hey, what's up, gang? It's Adam from the CommanderSmiths, and it is Spotlight Deck Tech time. Tonight, I am working on Tom Bombadil. You know, obvious, it's Sagas, but how do you win with Sagas? Because there's a lot of interesting Sagas, but how do you make them all gel together? I kind of have a little bit of a twist, I guess, with this. It's going to be more of a aura enchantress style type of deck. So casting enchantments, it kind of works so well together. The auras are enchantments, so you're going to get the draw off of that with all the enchantress stuff. So how this is all going to work, I'm going to go through... sorry, Jacuzzi. Sorry, Jacob. I don't know why I called you Jacob. Jake. I saw you Jacoby, and then I mixed Jake and Jacoby together. And then I got you Jacob. I know that's your actual name, but yeah. I always snipe the decks that you're wanting to build, buddy. But you could still build it, man. It's all good. We just don't play it at the same time, or maybe we do. But okay, so as you can see on the left-hand corner there, I'm going to move mine out of the way because I can't see, that's not physically on my screen. That's I built in there. So you can see right here, kind of, my mouse won't go over it. That is kind of what we'll be using tonight. How I will start this is I'm going to go through all the cards on here. I will make cuts. As you can see, there is 180 cards. I do have my lands all set. I'm going to turn down this music in the background. Have all my lands set. So there is no adding lands and there is no cutting lands at this point. I'll get to that at the end. Yeah, we'll definitely have to battle this at SmithCon, buddy. So I'm going to go through this. There's going to be some obvious cuts right away, but I did want to show some of the cards. I already have stuff in sideboard as I've built this deck. It did start out at like 230, so I've already made 50 cuts before I started this. I kind of want to get this done tonight in one swing. I'm not the greatest at cutting. I sometimes need to take a break and sit back and come back to it later. But we'll see. We'll see what we can get done. If we can get even down to the last 10, that'll be good. I do have the deck list below in the show notes and everything like that. I am drinking a beverage tonight. I don't normally drink on the weekdays besides our podcast. It's normally the only day I drink. But it's my birthday week. Happy birthday to me. I'm having, actually, it's a Malibu Black. So it's a little bit higher proof. Malibu Black. So it's like drinking a Captain Morgan, but it has that Malibu taste. And it's a Diet Coke. So cheers. That's what I'm having. I'm sipping on tonight. And I might have a couple of those depending on how long this video is. So let's get started with it. First off, this card isn't out yet. It will be out in approximately a little over a month in June. Tom Bombadil was spoiled as one of the cards. So I'm guessing what's going to happen is once we start, they're going to have a lot more cards in there that are probably Sagas that are built for Tom Bombadil. So when it comes out, I probably will sub in and out some stuff. But for now, this is what we're working with, what we have. So what Tom Bombadil is, it's Wooburg, white, blue, black, red, green. So every color, just like was it my last one? No, last one was Edgin. One before that was Uratet. So another 5-color deck here. So as long as it's a God Bard. Tom is a God Bard. He's a 4/4. As long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible. So he has built-in protection on him as long as you have counters on him. Whenever the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a saga card. Put that card on the battlefield and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. This only triggers once each turn. So the kind of cool thing is you lose a saga when it's at the end of its saga. So there's a lot of counters on that, but you immediately get another saga before that one leaves. So it says when the ability resolves, let's just pop down to a saga just to kind of show you. I do have all this organized. Let's grab this guy right here. Okay, so as this enters and after you draw your draw step, add a lore counter, then you sacrifice it after you've done that ability. So it doesn't get sacked immediately. You add the counter, that triggers that ability. So in that time, if you have a way to manipulate your counters, for example, let's just pop to the counter manipulation stuff, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're doing here. I thought I had a tag for that. There it is. So if we, for example, this is probably one of the better ones of the group here, Hex Parasite. If I remove, I can either pay black or 2 life, you know, the Phyrexian, or X. And you remove X counters for target permanent. For each counter removed, it gets 1+0. Whatever. That's negligent of what we're trying to do here. But so the key there is with this Saga, let's say you hit that third one. You're drawing 2 cards for each opponent who controls fewer creatures than you. In that instant, when you do your drawing your cards, you can use Hex Parasite and remove a counter from it. So then you go back down to 2. So the Saga doesn't go away, but it resolves Tom Bombadil's ability. It says whenever the final chapter of an ability of a Saga you control resolves, it resolves by getting this third chapter. The sacrifice happens after that. So after you're done with doing the lore counter, see how there's a period in there? Add a lore counter, period. Sacrifice after 3. So in that little short time, you can do both of those things. Remove the counter, go through, get another Saga, and then now you're still back at 2 and you still have a lot of counters on it. So that is going to be the key to keeping these Sagas around. We're going to get a bunch of these things that are manipulating our Sagas, making it so they stay around. But again, they can leave because you're getting another Saga to replace it. So it isn't built around like they have to stay in play, but it's just a way to kind of keep it around and utilize these. Normally the third Saga or the third, was it step, I guess? Third or fourth step are normally a lot more powerful than the first and second. So it's kind of nice to be able to, it's a good thing I'm not a teacher. Wait, it's a good thing. Oh yeah, you said think. You're not a teacher. Sorry. Tranquility. No, because we'll have some protection stuff in there. Okay, so let's get started with everything here. So as I mentioned, you gotta have a way to win. So my thought was Tom already has protection built in on him. He has indestructible and hexproof. The only thing that's getting him is exile everything effect. There isn't a shit ton of them in creatures necessarily. There are some that doesn't target. But I do have some things where I can, if there isn't enough counters, that I can protect him as well. It's more so to protect my enchantments because that's how you can get to Tom here. So my idea is we're going to use auras as our way to win the game. So our Sagas are going to do their thing. Tom's going to be sitting there looking pretty, gaining stuff and getting big. And then you're just going to go through and kill people as you go through this. So as we go through here, back to nature would be a good thing in there. Back to nature. Which one is that? I could look it up really quick. Is that one of the destroy all enchantment stuff? I think that sounds familiar. Back to nature. I believe that is what it is. I'll go all the way down because it's going to pop up down here. Yep, destroy all enchantments. Kind of figured that. No, that will not be good in here. No more suggestions. I will not take from you, Renshai. Okay, so first off, Bane, all that glitters. I almost said Bane of Progress, what you wrote. All that glitters. This is such a good card. I love that this is in my Akiri deck, mainly because it focuses on the artifacts, but this also artifacts and enchantments. Enchanted creature gets 1+1 for each artifact and enchantment you control. Ancestral Mask, we're doing a similar thing. Aqueous form. Aqueous. Do I have the button up? Kid can't even read.
Kid can't even read.
It can't be blocked. Love that. Has a when it attacks scry. So these three are really nice to have in here. Armadillo Cloak. I'm probably going to get rid of here. We got 80 cuts to get here, but I thought it would be an interesting one down there if with the trample and everything. So this one's going to stay in the sideboard for now. But I figured that was kind of a nice thing because you're gaining life and the trample. You have an indestructible guy. That was kind of a nice thing to have in there. Bear Umbra adds a little bit extra protection, but then also untaps your land. So we like that. Chains of Curiosity. This one has a removal built in. When it comes in, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until this leaves the battlefield. Then it also gives protection, so it's giving ward. I dig this because there's a little bit of spot removal built in, while also giving a little bit of, you know, protection with the ward and everything. But it's not just creatures; it's any non-land permanent. So I like that. Daybreak Coronet again. I like this, but we're gonna have to make cuts. So I like the lifelink stuff in there because that's a good way to really get my life back up. But right now what we're looking at with the auras is they're my game winners. They're my things that are going to either get me through to kill said player or players. And the life gain is just, it isn't going to be a part of this game. So I think auras are going to be more of my side theme. So if we look at our card there, side theme will probably be 0. So that's 0 to 10. So we want to get this down to 10 nice auras and then kind of focus on the sagas as our main idea. All right. So this one is kind of considered I would say our Day of Dragons because it gives us, let me show you this is the secret layer version. I like this version. I just want you guys to be able to see it better. Let's get the original one so you can see. So it's Eldrazi Conscription for 8. Enchanted creature gets 10 plus 10, trample, and Annihilator 2. Like, that's just, it's such a good card. I don't have this in any deck. This one's going to stay in here because this is a really good one to get late game, obviously. Especially if he has Hexproof and Indestructible. Give him the trample and the Annihilator. That's just going to be kind of a sick card in there. Again, 1+1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike. I like that it's a 1-drop. Hydra's Growth. This one seems pretty sweet in this because if they're not able to target Bombadil, he's just going to continuously to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So each turn, it's just a bigger, badder dude that no one can deal with. And then you're just going to swing through. So for now, this one's staying in there. Leyline Immersion. Well, you talked about this one as one of our top 10 cards. I like this. It adds a little bit of protection, but then it also allows my Tom to keep tapping for mana. So it can tap for 5 mana to cast more of my sagas. Mantle of the Ancients. This one is a card I didn't really know about because it was also the Dungeons and Dragons one. So I don't remember even seeing this. I might have it. I don't know, but it's kind of cool. So it enters the battlefield, return any number of target aura and or equipment cards. We're not really dealing with equipment. From your graveyard to the battlefield, attached to enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets 1+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it. So that's pretty sweet. You're getting some recursion built in there. We like that. Pariah. Fun to have when you have a creature that's indestructible. So one idea, I'm going to say this, was to do a board wipe deck. I did not go that route, but my original thoughts with how I wanted to build Tom was board wipes and Voltron through. Instead, then I switched to auras and kill. But because if you make him indestructible, you kill everybody else's stuff, then you just hit people. But hitting 4 at a time, that's going to take a long time to kill 3 other players. You know, so that's why I was like, well, let's just stick with the aura part of this. But, so Pariah, if he's indestructible, you just all out swing and you don't worry about the crackback because all the damage goes to Tom and he's indestructible, so you're all good. Another card that is really... Is this the one I was thinking of? Oh, yes. I like this one. Okay. So, it's an aura. It gets 1+1 for each aura you control that's attached to a creature. Not to that creature, a creature. So, all your creatures that have auras on them, this gives this creature 1+1. But when it enters, you draw a card for each aura you control that's attached to a creature. Again, both of them are a creature. So if you're having to cast your auras on other things before you get Tom out, and then you cast this, you still get to draw for each aura that's on all the other guys. So this is actually a really good draw engine here. We might be a little higher than the 10 because this almost fits in with the theme a little bit because you're trying to get, it's your game winners. So I may combine where's game winners is Day of Dragons 3 to 5. So it might be more around that 15 range for this deck. Shield of the Oversoul. So gives up flying and indestructible. might be a little redundant, but if he isn't, when I was running Goldfish, when I was running it, testing it out, it is hard to, a lot of these sagas, granted I was playing with 180 cards, it's hard to get all of them out, and what ends up happening a lot of times is you get him out, and then you're able to get your next turn get like 3 sagas out. So there's some parts where he's a little vulnerable, but he doesn't seem that threatening until people know how the whole deck works. So I don't know. This one's a maybe. I like the evasion on this. I like this one better because it gives the unblockable. We'll get to that here in a sec. But okay, Snake Umbra, drawing cards. When it deals damage, you may draw a card, and it has a little protection because it's totem armor. Spirit Mantle, protection from creatures, so basically unblockable. 1/1, we have our Staggering Insight. This one I will get rid of, but it was nice because when it deals damage, you draw a card. It gets 1/1 in lifelink. Love the lifelink stuff, but we're going to get rid of that guy for now. Steal the Godhead. This is fantastic for the unblockableness. Same with the Unquestioned Authority. Nice thing about Unquestioned Authority is you get to draw cards. So we got unblockable there for protection from creatures. Unblockable there, protection from creatures. I think Shield of the Oversoul will have to go to the sideboard for now. Snake Umbra, I dig it because we have protection. It will not protect against the exile, so we're still vulnerable to that. I think everything we have here is pretty decent, so we're going to move on to the next part because normally I just go through the whole deck and then we do the cuts. But I'm trying to be proactive in doing it at the same time. So, all right, Displacer Kitten. So why is this in here? Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent you control, then return it to the battlefield under your owner's control. This is nice because if your saga is towards the end of its life and you want Tom to be protected, you cast a saga, flicker the other saga, it goes back. So you utilize the saga, it does its counter, it goes on to the next one. So you get that whatever ability. And then if Displacer Kitten's out and you cast another one, it leaves, comes back, a counter goes on it, you get the first one again. So it's kind of nice being able to keep flickering and keep using all the abilities more than once. That's kind of a key thing here. Flux Channeler, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, which that's what we're doing, you proliferate. So you get to choose which ones you want to put the counters on. So the kind of cool thing that I was doing when I was testing it out is being able to do this on other people's turn. If you can get your sagas to hit their max when it's somebody else's turn, then you get this. It still happens. You know, it's once each turn. It's not just on your turn. So that's kind of nice if you have some other things that you're able to cast to manipulate those counters. Hex Parasite, we talked about that one. This one does a similar thing. Remove a counter from a permanent you control. Choose one, put a counter on target artifact, or put a 1/1 counter on target creature. So this one's working really well with what we want to do here. This one's interesting. So you have no choice but to put a lore counter on every saga. You don't get to choose which sagas you can put it on. And you can only do it as a sorcery. So you may be hitting your final saga chapter. You may hit a bunch of them. You may not want to do that. So this one's still up in the air. But then also when it dies, you choose one. You can return a saga or an enchantment creature you control to its owner's hand, or return target saga from your graveyard to your hand. So if it gets killed, you get a little bit of recursion, I guess, built in. This next one I really like. I don't know why I'm not using this card more. I actually spec'd on this one because I think this is a good card, not even just in saga decks, like just in anything that's dealing with counters. And even that, like, okay, let me read it. So 1 colorless, 1 white for a 1/1. That's nothing. It's Human Scout. It enters with a 1/1 counter. You can tap it, remove a counter from a permanent you control. So it doesn't have to be him. It could be any other permanent that you have that has counters on it. Planeswalkers, whatever. From a permanent, search your library for a Plains card, not a basic, a Plains card. So you can get your dual lands, you can get your triomes, you can get your shock lands. But if an opponent controls more lands than you may put that card onto the battlefield tapped. If you don't put that onto the battlefield, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So this is nice because I'm removing from the sagas. It fits in perfect for this because we get rid of a counter. I get to go get a land. So it's getting, I like that better than adding a 1+1 counter to a creature, you go get a plains card, put it into your hand, or if somebody has more land than you, goes directly onto the battlefield. And it does not say, oh, it does say tap. Sorry, I did read that. So this one's a really good card. I did pick up, I think, like 20 of these for like, it says $1.79, but I was getting them for like 40 cents. Like, this is ridiculous for a 2-drop. It's really good. All right, then the next is one of our newer cards from the last set, Staff of Completion. This almost made it on our list from this week from the podcast, but this was one of the last cuts to not get on there. But you can pay 1, destroy target permanent you own. That's not going to happen very often for this, but pay 2, add mana, so that helps. It's a mana rock, especially when you're in a 5-color deck. Pay 3 life, tap it, proliferate. So you get to choose which sagas you want to hit where. Maybe you make that one. It's an artifact, so you can do this on anybody else's turn. So you can have a saga hit its final chapter on your opponent's turn, and you get to get another saga. It also has draw built in on it, and if you really wanted to, you can untap it. So this is perfect in this, being able to not only give you mana, but to proliferate, and in a pinch, you can draw a card. Throw Parasite does the same thing as removing counters from a non-land permanent. This time you're losing 2 life, but it does have Extort. So whenever you cast a spell, you may pay a black or a white. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain that much life. For a 1-drop, this is really good, especially for counter manipulation. All right. This one, I don't know. The ones that I wish I could check these. Like, there's a little thing there. You would think that by hitting that, it would do something, but it's not. Because the ones that are on the chopping block would be my Flux Channeler, and maybe Satsuki.
One. Can't even read.
Those might be my 2 that are on the chopping block. Put a lore. I like that you're putting a lore counter on each, because it's nice if you have like 3 of them out and you're hitting all 3 of them. You're getting those 2 times in a turn. But you're having to you can't pick and choose. So that's my only downfall. All right, well, we'll get back to that. We have cut 4 cards. All right. So one thing I do want to point out is originally I did have all of the new Paraders because remember, they do flip over into sagas. After playing it through a couple times, there really is only 2 or 3 that I could play. The red one is not playable in this because you're not casting instances or sorceries. The white one is the Elish Norn. Sorry, I should give their names. Urbrask is not playable in this because of that. Elish Norn is not playable in this because Elish Norn will end up killing all my stuff. Because if you look at Elish Norn's flip side, if it finishes the final chapter, it's exiling all. It would hit all my enchantments. It was artifact, non-artifact, non-Phyrexian, something, non-lands. So all my enchantments would be gone. So I was like, nope, that one doesn't work. But Jin-Gitaxias does work, and it works really well. This is probably the best one of the 3 to be in here, because it comes in, you're casting non-creature spells constantly with your enchantments, you're drawing cards. They're typically 3 mana value, 3 or more. And there's a lot of times you have more or up to 7 cards. Let me make sure that's right. When you have 7 cards, you flip it. The flip side is insane. You draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. So you probably have 7. You draw another 7. You have no maximum hand size for as long as this is this way. Then you can return all non-Phyrexian creatures to their owner's hands. You do have to return yours. So Tom could get hit there. But the number 3 is sick because in the next turn, you may cast any number of spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. Then you flip it back over to the other side. So, oh, nice. From Cute to Brute arrived. Nice, Parks. It's a cool little deck. I like it. So in the playtest that I got this out, easily was able to flip it. Like as soon as this got out, the next turn I flipped it over, drew 7, did another turn, hit the last one, and then it was just, actually, I think I added counters to it. So I think the second turn I was able to hit this and dropped my hand. It was insane. Like, it was just like, holy shit, I wish I was playing a game on camera because this would have been awesome. Hey, you know, it'd have interaction. There'd be different things that happen. But to hit this is a really, that's a game winner in itself. All right, let me move back up to our draw stuff. So Argothian Enchantress, it has Shroud. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. We like that. We're going to replenish our hand. This is from the Warhammer decks. So it's a little bit. It's 5. The Warhammer Sagas are a little bit more spendy, but they're pretty decent. So this one gives you some creatures. Get a 2/2 creature token, vigilance for each opponent you have. So typically you'll get 3. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Then you draw 2 cards for each opponent who controls fewer creatures than you. That's pretty solid because you're giving yourself 3. Unless you're playing against a creature deck, you know, you're probably going to have more than 1, maybe 2 people. Then you're drawing 4 cards off of that. That's pretty nice. Black Market Connections. We talked about this one this week on the cast. Why not? This has to be in here. It's a great enchantment. Draw, treasure, and if you really wanted 2 creatures, most likely will not use this for the creature part of it. But it's a fantastic 3-drop. Fantastic. It's one of the best in the game. Eidolon of Blossom. So when this comes in or another enchantment, you draw a card. So this is our enchantress style of decks. Again, here, enchantress presence. This one is not a creature. That one is. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. This one got snubbed to get in the top 10 this week, but it was very close to getting there. This is great in this deck because it is a saga. And it has a little bit of draw in there, and then flipping it over. I don't think the flip is going to be too handy, I guess. Another non-legendary creature. I mean, there is a lot of enchantress stuff in here, so you could make copies of that and draw a little bit extra. But I'm not sure. But here, I do want to point out one thing. Okay. Yep. So, see that third... Oh, let me get Fable back there. The third exile this saga. I'll make sure you guys can all see that. Yeah, you can. Okay. I was blocking my view. Exile this saga, then return to the battlefield, transform under your owner or your control. Let me point this one out. Whenever this or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you draw. So when this leaves and flips over, you will draw off of this. You won't draw off of this because this is a cast, but you will draw off of the ones that say ETB. So that's kind of nice because there is a lot of these flip sagas that will exile and come back. And they're also an enchantment, as you can see here, enchantment creatures. So you will draw off of that as well. Firmer Enchantress. So whenever one of my sagas ends, it dies, I can draw a card. So some of these I might just let die, and I get to draw off of that. Scry 2. Oh, we already talked about Jin. This one's a nice 2-drop saga. It says 4 lore. So that's kind of nice because you get to that third one. And then I just need one other saga out at the very beginning of its thing, and Bombadil is protected, so that's kind of nice. When you cast this one has a little bit of draw, a lot of draw built in on it. Look at the top of each player's library. The fourth one is kind of garbage. Ooh, that might be too much garbage. I like that it's a 2 though. That's my only thing here. Mesa Enchantress. I will say here there was the Sensei's top was in this. I got rid of it because we have enough draw that's built in on all our enchantments that I didn't need to have that in there. Because you can see we got Mesa Enchantress, we got Miri's Guile, which is looking at the top 3 and organizing them. It's a 1-drop, which is really nice. Mystic Remora, another 1-drop. Protection Racket. This is going to hit a lot of players for stuff. We got some big baddies, some staples. Heuristic Study, an enchantment. That's why it's in here, because it's an enchantment. We've already talked about that one. This is another Enchantress style. We're drawing whenever you cast. Another draw when this is an ETB one, so it's a little bit better. Showdown of Skalds. Exile 4 cards until your end of your next turn. You may play those cards. Whenever you cast a spell this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature control. So in that, I'm probably going to target Tom to get bigger. But, I can do whatever. But this has a little bit of draw built in because you're exiling 4 cards. you can cast them or play them this turn. That includes land because it's not cast, it's play. Or you can wait until the end of your next turn. You can play those 4 cards. So this is kind of a nice one to have. All right. Smuggler's Share. We talked about this one this week. So a lot of these cards that we've talked about during the podcast are fitting in here. So at the beginning of each end step, draw a card for each opponent who drew 2 or more cards this turn. Then create a treasure token for each opponent who had 2 or more lands enter the battlefield this turn. So if you're playing people that have fetches, if you have people that draw a lot of cards, if you're playing Lowry or I, this is a good card to have. And I think this is a good card for our play group. So that's why that's in there. We already talked about Snake Umbra. Sylvan Library, of course. This helps with our draw. That's why, we got rid of Senseis, but this and Miri's Guile. I was a Miri's Guile guy for the longest time. I did not have Sylvan. And now that I have Sylvan, Miri's end up getting cut a lot. And it might get cut here. We'll see. Another Enchantress style. So this is a lot of decks can be built around this one because gaining life and drawing cards is always good. This is probably one of the better ones. So this one's kind of fun. Tameshi Reality Architect. 2 and a blue. Whenever 1 or more non-creature permanents are returned to a hand, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So its ability is tapping 1 white and X. Return a land you control to its owner's hand. Return target artifact or enchantment card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this only as a sorcery. So you can return your Sagas that have died. And when you're returning your land to your hand, you're also drawing. So it's recursion with draw built in on it. I think this one is very good. Draw, what do we need to get down? 12 to 18. So we have quite a bit of cuts that we're going to have to do here. A lot of these are Sagas, though. And a lot of these are Enchantress style stuff. This one is a little bit of removal built in as well. Discard them any cards. Yeah, that's good Saga. This one has a 4-level Saga. Is that what the levels are they called? Draw, add a lore counter. I don't remember what they're called. But 4, that's nice there. Now we're hitting our Warhammer ones. For each opponent, gain control of 1 target non-legendary creature. So you're not getting their commander, but it stays. This one, it's interesting. For 6, we're getting 1/1/1/1. We get 3 creatures. Then your second one, you're drawing a card for each creature you control but don't own. So at max, you're getting 3. You're getting to draw 3. And then starting with you, each player chooses a creature, destroy each creature chosen this way. This one, I'm not sure if I like this one as much because people are going to choose your shit because you just stole all their stuff. Start with you, each player chooses a creature, destroy each creature chosen this way. So they're going to target your stuff. And so I don't want to give them the opportunity to do that. So this one, although I did spec on this one for this particular deck, I did pick up a few. I don't think I can keep this one in here because I feel like that's danger for yourself because people are going to just wipe your own board. Now, if it said that they couldn't choose your creatures, then it for sure would be in there, but I don't think I like that. The Kami War. So exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls. So removal. Return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then each opponent discards a card. So you're hitting people's hands. Exile this Saga. So the Saga part isn't really doing much. What's our backside? It's all colors. When it attacks, defending player chooses a non-land card in your graveyard. Return that card to your hand. So recursion, I guess. And this gets X plus O for the mana value. So this is flying trample. That's pretty decent when you get the flip side. This one you would want to flip over. This one's I'm gonna get cut because it's just the triple black is kind of bothering me, but it's another Warhammer one. You draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. Mill 3 cards. Choose up to 3 target creature cards with total mana value X or less in your graveyard. If it said anybody's graveyard, I'd be more inclined to use it. But you're not playing with a lot of creatures in this deck. I mean, right now it does say 50, but we have to do some cuts. I don't know how many of my creatures are going to be dead necessarily, and the triple black kind of bothers me. So, sideboard that mofo there. The World Spell. 7. All right. For 7, this better do a lot. But it does have read ahead, which is kind of fun. Because if you cast this and let's see, look at the top 7 cards of your library may reveal a non-saga permanent from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library. So we have a lot of sagas, but we might want an aura. Maybe we're just like, oh, we need something for Tom to, go off. So this could be a way to get that. Or if you have them in your hands, you could do the third one right away. Put up to 2 non-saga permanents from your hand onto the battlefield. So if you have auras that you want to get attached, and then if Tom's in play, you're hitting that 3, you go search for another saga and it replaces it. So you get the 2 auras out, it's on Tom, and then we move on. So this one's decent. For 7, is it good enough? We need to make cuts. We're moving that to sideboard. To Vasa, the Sunlit. So it's more of our enchantress stuff. So it gets 1+1 for each enchantment you control, but you draw every time you cast your first enchantment spell. So you aren't getting multiples. We're keeping it for now, but we might not. We have another enchantress there, and then Whirlwind of Thought. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. We have a lot here, and we have a lot that we need to cut. Let's see. So you can draw more off of that than the other. But the other gal gets bigger. This one is an enchantment as well. All right, well, we'll move on. We gotta get some other stuff going here. And this song is always a little bit louder. It distracts me a little bit. All right, so then I have the next section as enchantment bonus. So this is stuff when your enchantments come in, they do something. So this one is whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield, you get a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. Your Pegasus have lifelink. So there's a little bit of lifelink there. We already talked about that. Calyx, this one's pretty cool. Whenever this or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. And then whenever this or an enchanted creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may create a token copy of a non-legendary enchantment you control. Do this only once each turn. So you're duplicating your sagas, making token copies of them, and then they keep going. So that's really fun to use here. This one's definitely staying in here. We've already talked about that, and that. Estrid. Estrid's Invocation. When it enters the battlefield, it enters as a copy of any enchantment you control, except it has, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile this enchantment. If you do, return it to the battlefield under owner's control. So you can hit your sagas, get to the final chapters, or almost the final chapters, because it's at the beginning of your upkeep. And then you can flicker it, come back, and start a new chapter over if you didn't want it to leave. So this one has built-in recursion in a way. It never leaves in a way, unless it gets destroyed. We already talked about that. Herald of the Pantheon. Enchantment spells cost 1 less. Gain life. I like the costing 1 less. We have that with this guy too. I like this one better, obviously. So we're going to get rid of... sideboard that guy. Here's another one. Another one that I didn't know about until this. Historian's Boon. So it's 3 and 1 white. Whenever this or another non-token enchantment enters the battlefield, you get a 1/1 white soldier. Now, whenever your final chapter of your saga triggers, you also get a 4/4 flying Sarah Angel, flying with vigilance. So this is really nice to get you a bonus. Like, it's like this. We're getting our 2/2 Pegasi. You're getting your 1/1s, but this one is allowing you, when you get to your sagas done, you're also getting a 4/4 flyer. That's pretty sick. That's really good. This one is one I also picked up quite a few of because I really like this card. Kodama of the East Tree. I think I have to cut this, but I think it's very fun. I wanted to note it here because when your sagas enter, it's not entering from Kodama. If they enter from the final chapter and you have Tom out, then you get to play something that costs less than that one. So you get to play stuff for free. I really like it. I will sideboard this one as well. I think it'd be really fun, but I just don't want to. We need to make cuts. We need to make 71 cuts here, guys. 71 cuts, and I'm barely cutting anything as we go along. This next one I'll probably cut 2. It would be nice to play historic spells at flash speed, but it really isn't that beneficial to cast your sagas because it's artifacts and legendaries. If it said enchantments, then maybe I'd be more inclined to use it because you'd use your auras with it. But you're not. You're not using that, so this guy's got to go. But it seems pretty cool. I like it. I did pick this one up, a couple of them as a spec as well. I think it's a very nice card for that. We were talking about that. Talked about that. Sigil of the Empty Throne. You have to have this in an enchantress style deck. Whenever you cast an enchantment, you get a 4/4 flying angel. So not quite Seri Angel, doesn't have the vigilance, but it is very nice getting 4/4 angels every time you're playing a saga or casting a saga. Starfield Mystic, we are getting 1 less, but he is getting bigger every time you an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard. I was thinking cast. So that kind of works with the sagas. That works pretty good. We'll keep it there for now. Starfield of Nyx. I want to point this one out. I am not going to use this for 2 reasons. One, I don't own this card, and I don't know if I really want to buy it for 15. I think it's good because you're playing sagas, and then your sagas can attack, which is really nice. I think it could be very good. So it is going to go to sideboard because if I'm just getting all these sagas out and my whole plan of Tom killing people isn't going to work, then maybe this is my secondary win. So for now, it's going to go to sideboard, but I just wanted to point this out because it's a really nice card if you're playing enchantress style decks or sagas. Those turn into creatures and you can attack with them. So that's another way to win. So we're going to do that one to sideboard for now. Talked about that. Weaver of Harmony. This one seems pretty sweet. It is also an enchantment. The first part's really not going to matter. The second one is when you copy target activated or triggered ability. So when your saga triggers to do its ability, you can tap 1, tap it, and you can do it twice. It seems pretty nice. Zur the Enchanter. Whenever this attacks, you may search your library for an enchantment card with mana value 3 or less. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. Sure, I think it would be good if I was really doing the aura side of it, things and the sagas. Again, this will be a sideboard. It's not getting rid of it completely. There's the other Zurs in here as well. But we have to make cuts and we got to get rid of stuff. And I think that's one that I got to get rid of. All right. Whew. What are we? 44 minutes in. Or not even through the whole deck yet. All right. Now we get into the protection section. We already went over a lot of these. So I will kind of skim over those. But what I really wanted to touch on with some of this stuff is protecting my auras, my enchantments, in this. And so your Boros Charm, your Heroic Intervention, those are really key in this to kind of keep your stuff alive. We already talked about that guy. Cosmic Intervention seems really fun. It's an instant. But if somebody does do a board wipe, destroying, somehow gets around, kills your Bombadil or kills all your enchantments, tranquility type thing where you're getting rid of everything, you have this in the foretell spot and you bring everything back. Or if you're not thinking of it that way, like that was partially there, but if you have all these sagas that you're going to hit their final sagas, their final chapters, and they all go to the graveyard, you have it all planned out. You're like, well, I'm going to hit this one, this one, this one. Boom, for 2, you bring them all back and you start over from square one. And it's at instant speed. So, interacting, what if it makes Tom vulnerable? Like now he doesn't have 4 counters on your sagas. Somebody goes to kill it, and then you go, boop. Actually, those ones that all just died, I bring them all back, and you protect Tom and they waste a spell. Flawless Maneuver, free. Just made a proxy of this one. This one could get the cut in this because your Tom is already built in with the indestructible. And I was more thinking of this as giving all your creatures. So if there's board wipes, your enchantresses will die and all that stuff. I'll keep it there for now, but this might end up getting cut here pretty soon. Privileged position. Other permanents you control have hexproof, so it protects all your enchantments. So that's kind of nice, except for this. Sphere of safety. You have this out. No one's attacking you because you're gonna have so many enchantments out. So this is kind of a nice card to have in there. Sterling Grove. Other enchantments you control have Shroud. So originally I like put it in and then I took it out and I put it back in because I'm like, none of my enchantments, like, they aren't getting targeted by my stuff. So I'm fine with this being in there. And then if I wanted to, I could sacrifice it and search for something in particular if I'm in a pinch. Saphir's protection, obviously. Here's the other Zur. Enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof. Target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature. We're going to get rid of that one. If the other style of everything is working, then you would play that one a little bit more. All right, so our protection, we're a little bit out of range. 8 to 12, we're at 15. So this I wouldn't consider protection. I threw it in here because it's going to protect you is how I was thinking it. And then everything else, there might be a couple. I really wish I could do a flag of some sort on things. Buy card, no. There's no way to tag them. I want to have like just a little check mark. All right, let's get into our ramp, rocks, and dorks. Mana dorks, what do we have? We need this at 13 to 17. We have a lot here. We need to do some stuff here. Let's just get started. We have Arcane Signet. Yes, we need that. It's a 5 color. We need to have our mana fixing. This, yes, play an additional land. We'll take that. Bear Umbra, we already talked about that. It's a Saga, searching for a forest card, not basic. I do like that as well. Birds of Paradise, 1-drop, yes. Bloom Tender, yes. Oseju, reaches skyward. Right away, you get to go search for 2 basic forests. Problem. This deck only has 2 basic forests in it. Put 1 target land from your graveyard on top of your library. This might have to get the cut because we only have 2 of those in there. And the chances that we have that one of those in play are very low. But yeah, well, we're going to get rid of that. So Chromatic Lantern, we're fixing our land. Commander Sphere, I think we have enough mana dorks there that we do not need that. Deathrite Shaman, this is basing off of other people's stuff, so I think I'm going to get rid of that one as well. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. Decanter of Endless Water, I like this because it's giving you 1 color of any mana and no maximum hand size. A new card that's going to be in the Lord of the Rings set, adding 1 colorless, but if it's a legendary, which your commander is, it can be any color, and then it can't be countered. So, yeah, this is pretty good for this. Dryad of the Elysian Grove, yes. Lands are every basic land type and playing additional land. Sika, which is that deck that Parks was talking about earlier. This allows all your legendary creatures to tap for mana. I don't know how many legendary. I don't think we can see that in here, can we? No, but at the very least, it's adding mana. And actually, the flip side is kind of fun. Because at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library to reveal a creature or a planeswalker card. Put that card on the battlefield. I guess it's okay fun. How many legendary creatures do we have? There's 1. 2, well, obviously, it taps. I wonder if I can go by the names. No, I wouldn't know there. We're going to skim through quick to see if this one is even worth having in. So Jin Gataxius would tap for mana. That one would tap for mana. That one would tap for mana. That one would tap. We're getting there. Is it going to be worth it for a 3-drop? Maybe not. Do sideboard there. Evolution Sage. Whenever a land enters battlefield, proliferate. Yeah, that's going to be great in this. Exploration. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Yeah, I think we like that one in this. I think so. Fable the Mirror Breaker. Faburo Elder. So similar to Bloom Tender. This is really good in this kind of deck when you're playing 5 colors. Felwar Stone, a 2-drop, add 1 that could your opponent's control. That'll help. Font of Fertility. So basically for 3, you get to go put a land into play tapped. So it's like your Cultivate and stuff like that. It is a basic land, so you can get any color there. A Noble Hierarch, yeah. We have another Saga, yeah. Land Tax, yeah. Basic land, put that into your hand. So the max I'm going to be able to get is 10. So I have 2 basics of each kind. So we have 2 of each 5 colors. 3 basic lands, put them into your hand. I think we'll keep that for now. We already talked about Leyline, Lotus Cobra, that'll help. We got a Sliver, a 2-drop, add 1 mana of any color. Nissa, so we're doing a very similar to Lotus Cobra there. Noble Hierarch, Omen of the Hunt, Ornithopter of Paradise. You guys should be playing this card more if you aren't in your ramp, needing ramp, because I almost missed this to put in here, but for 2, getting an O2 that taps for any color, it's pretty good. I mean, Birds of Paradise is our best card for Mana Dorks, but this is right up there because it can go in any deck. Path of the World Tree. When it enters the battlefield, search for a basic land, reveal, put it in your hand, then shuffle. So for 2, that's pretty good. But then you have all this other stuff that you could do with it. But it's more of, it's an enchantment. You get to do all that stuff. I think we'll keep that there. Sanctum Weaver, yeah. Any 1 color. Smothering Tithe. So another staples in here with an enchantment. We got Soul Ring. Song of Frailes. We got the Staff. Sylvan Carotid. I do like that this has protection, unlike some of our other dorks that are in here. Birth of Malek, whatever. Search your library for a Plains card. So this, again, you can get a dual land and all that stuff. This one's a basic. What's our other stuff on here? Discard a card. You return a permanent with converted mana cost. Basic Plains. So we're going to get rid of that one. This one's a basic land. I like this better because the other one was specific to planes. Tireless Provisioner. I'm a dork. I know. I mean, I play Magic, of course. That's given. I'm a dork. Nerd. I'm going to have to make another drink here in a little bit. Okay. Vorinclex, our other Praetor, is in here. Search your library for up to 2 forest cards. I like that. And then this one is at any point on as a sorcerer. You don't have to have any other stipulations. For 8, you can flip it. Let's see. Is the backside good enough? Mill 10 cards. Put up to 2 creature cards from among them onto the battlefield. Distribute 7 1/1 counters among any number of creatures you control until the end of your turn. Creatures you control again. I don't think this one's good enough to have in here because the front side is not hitting any of my drawing engines. So we're going to get rid of that one. But it would seem like a good card to have with getting the 2. I think it's going to be used quite a bit. In this deck, it's just not fitting. I did just pick up the new Wrenn and Realm Breaker from Cardsphere today.
Oh, good for you!
So this is nice for your mana. The only problem is we have enough mana fixing with everything else. So I might not play this one because... does it fit with everything else? No, I don't think so. We got to make cuts. We got 60 cuts to make here, guys. And we are nowhere near that. So, draw Ramp, Rocks, and Dorks, 40. And we need to get that down to 17. We'll come back to it. We're going to go through and make really big cuts when we get through. All right. Now we get into recursion. Exile target permanent. So this has a little... this is recursion. Also, removal. So exile target permanent an opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or more. For 5, is this good enough? Return target creature or planeswalker from your graveyard. No, this is not good enough because we're not going to have a lot of creatures in there necessarily. So we'll get rid of that Saga. Return target artifact or enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. That works. I mean, these are all our recursion stuff. Oh, Heliod. We didn't talk about that one. When this enters target enchantment, return target enchantment that isn't a god from your graveyard to your hand. If you transform it, you can cast spells as they had flash. Spells cost 1 less for each card and your opponents have drawn this turn. So even on your opponent's turn, you're at least getting 1 less to cast your spells. This seems pretty solid and has recursion, and it's an enchantment, so that's fun. Hanana, whatever. I think this one I'm getting rid of. We got this. That's a little bit. That one's there. Return up to one target non-land owner's hand, then exile target. Oh, wait. Each opponent exile this. That was not recursion. Why do I have that as recursion? Oh, that's why I have it recursion. The flip side. Makes sense. Okay, so we got 5 down. What do we have for recursion? 0 to 5. So we're at our 5. I'm fine with those 5. We could probably lose 1 in there. This is the one that's on potentially in the chopping block. Does this one do enough to help? It might not. Enters, you return it from your graveyard to your hand. Maybe if it did it to play. I like this one better than this one. So we're getting rid of that one. And I like that. That fits in, that fits in, that fits in. These 4 are good. We'll keep those in. All will be 1. I think it would be really good with the lore stuff. You're putting counters on if you have multiples. But it's such incremental damage. You're 1 damage here, 1 damage here, 1 damage. If you have enough of them out, yeah, they're doing a lot. But I think it needs to be more mass counters for all will be 1. I love this card. I just don't think it's going to fit well in this deck for what this deck is doing. So we're going to get rid of that. All right, for 2, you're fighting. Tom is hopefully indestructible, so you fight. Even if there's this gonna kill Tom, it doesn't. You know, that's a little bit of removal built in on it. And your second one, you're getting the mana and then putting more counters on Tom and then gaining life. For a 2-drop Saga, I like that because that's the thing, playing it through. Sometimes I wasn't having enough Sagas out to feel like, oh, I need to get Tom out. So then I was having Sagas hit their final chapter and Tom wasn't out to take advantage of that. So to have one that's a 2-drop one, I want some lower casting ones. You want some big guys, but you also want a lot of the little ones in there as well. Battle of Frost and Fire. I like this because it's doing 4 damage to each non-giant creature. And the only problem is you are going to hit your enchantress stuff. But this would be more of a late game Saga. And maybe if you did have an indestructible thing in your deck. But you could screw yourself over if you hit a final chapter of a Saga and this is the one that you hit and you kill all your enchantresses and everything. 4 is a lot. Each non-giant creature. Then you scry 3. Whenever you cast a spell with converted mana cost 5 or more, draw 2 cards and discard a card. It might be too much hit. We're going to get that to sideboard. It's a little dangerous with your... If we thin out the enchantress stuff, then maybe that's a little bit better. Destroy target non-land permanent opponent controls. This also has that ramp built in on it. And then your creatures gain death touch like it. This one's fun. This one's really good. Whenever this or another enchantment enters, your opponent's creatures all get -1/-1 until end of turn. And it's not cast, it's just when they enter. So if your Sagas are leaving, coming into play, you cast a couple, -3/-3. You know, this one's going to be solid in here. And it's an enchantment, so we're drawing off of that with the enchantress stuff. Phyrexian Scriptures. So 2 and 2 black. 1/1. Becomes an artifact in addition to other types. Destroy all non-art. So this is a good removal to kill everybody else's stuff. And then you remove their graveyards. I think I'll keep this in there because this could be one of those things I was talking about where we turn Tom into an artifact. He's already indestructible, so maybe we get after something else. And then we just remove everything. You know, you keep one of your enchantress stuff alive. I like at least you have 2 things there that you're keeping alive. The Acrorin War. God, I just. Oops, wrong button. One more button over. There we go.
Kid can't even read.
Gain control of target creature until your next turn. Until your next turn, creatures your opponents you control attack. Oh, that's attacking you though. But they have to attack, and then if this saga resolves, each creature pretty much, a lot of times it's even number. Well, maybe not. This might be bad. This could incentivize people to attack you. Yeah, we'll do that on the sideboard. The Eldest Reborn. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each opponent discards a card. Put target creature or planeswalker from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So again, let's back this up a little bit. We get to that third one, right? Saga resolves. Tom Bombadil's stuff resolves. We get another saga. We remove the counter. So it's back down to 2. Next turn, you get to take another creature or planeswalker from any graveyard and put it onto the battlefield. So this one I like. And it's a 1 black for it. It's not a triple or a double like this one. So I dig this one. And people are losing stuff. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. If you wanted to, you could remove that 1 counter. If you cast it the first turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature, and then you can remove it if you have those guys out. And then the next turn, they're sacrificing a creature. So you could definitely do that. All right. The Long Reach of Night. Each opponent sacrifices a creature unless they discard a card. What's the flip side of this one? So they're doing it twice. It gets X+O, where X is the number of creature cards in defending player's graveyard. Flip side isn't that great. I don't know if I like the front side either as much. I like this one better because it's 1 more, but then you're getting a creature to take over that. Removal. What do we have for removal? 7 to 15. And this isn't remove. They're getting to choose is the hard part. This one's removal. That one's removal. Spot. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 3 spot, 2 mass. We might have to keep this one in there to kind of balance the board a little bit more. That's my worry about when you have Voltron decks is you don't want to. You need to kind of control the board a little bit, otherwise you can get killed very easily. So that might be one I want to keep in there. All right, the Phasing Zalfur. The Phasing of Zalfur?
Kid can't even read.
This one has the read ahead, so I kind of like that. So you could cast it for 4, destroy all creatures. For each creature destroyed this way, its controller gets a 2/2 black. I like this one. Because in a pinch, you're destroying everybody's, but you're Tom Bombadil. Because they'll be indestructible, hopefully, because you're hitting the 3rd. So you're going to have 3, and hopefully you have 1 other saga out, so he's indestructible, and then you destroy everybody else's. They get 2/2 stuff. Voice of Hunger, control the board. Voice of Hunger. Why do I recognize Voice of... I feel like I know. Are you doing... Which one are you talking about? Are you talking about Vorinclex? Is that Voice of Hunger? That's not the right one, is it? Yes, you are. Yeah, no. Get that out of here. I was like, Voice of Hunger. I feel like that's Vorinclex. I feel like that's what you're trying to make me do. Dang you, Quinn. All right, our last removal is Time of Ice. Tap target creature and opponent control. So your first two, you're doing this. It does not untap during its controller's untap step for as long as this is out. So you're tapping 2, then return all tap creatures to their owner's hand. So this one I'm mad. I'm getting rid of that one. I'm not a fan of that one as much. All right. Hey, we're down to 53 cards. Now we get to the Sagas. Sagas, 15 to 25. So we're probably not going to cut a lot here, gang. But let's go through it. Let's see which ones we didn't talk about yet. We talked about that. We talked about that. We talked about that. That. We did not talk about this. Return up to 1 target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Return an artifact card from your graveyard to your hand if you can't draw a card. So if you don't have an artifact, which you probably won't, but you get to draw. And then exile this, return it back transformed. Is it good enough? Whenever you cast a spell, your opponents can't cast spells with the same mana value as that spell until your next turn. I don't know if I like this one as much. I do like the bouncing effect, but I don't think I want this one on there. We're going to sideboard that guy. All right, we talked about Jin. I don't think I talked about this one, but it's nice because it adds a mana dork. Gives you a mana dork. It's flip side. If you have modified creature, if you have 5 or more modified creatures, you're not going to get that. Enters the battlefield under control. You may pay X, where X is okay. So it gives you a mana dork. Put a 1/1 counter in each. So it's really the mana dork is really what you're getting on this one. King of Narfi Betrayal. Each player mills 4 cards. Then you may exile a creature or planeswalker from each graveyard. So then you're able to cast spells that you exiled, which includes your stuff. I kind of like that for 2 turns. And it's only a 3-drop. I kind of dig that. All right. Kiora Beast or Best the Sea God. So you get an 8/8 for 7. 8/8 Kraken with Hexproof. Tap all non-land permanents target opponent controls. They don't untap. Gain control of target permanent and opponent controls untap. That's not bad. So we're tapping down somebody, all their permanents, except for their lands. And then you gain control of a permanent opponent controls. I can dig that. That's pretty brutal. If you are able to keep doing the third one, I can dig that for late game. We talked about this one earlier. 1+1 for each art of this one's really good for doing the Voltron style. We talked about that. Shieldred. We did not get to Shieldred yet. All right. Shieldred enters the battlefield. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker. You can exile this and return it to the battlefield if somebody has 8, an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. Let's look at the backside. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target creature. So this should be on removal too. Removal. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls. Each opponent discards 3 cards and then mills 3 cards. And then you put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. And then you flip this back over. Yeah, that's a good one to have in here, I think. Like, it isn't a saga. You're not going to get to draw with your enchantress stuff. But when you, like, it's the same thing with Jin Gataxias. When these flip over to saga form, and 8 cards in a graveyard is simple. Like, early game, sure, you're not doing it. Mid-late game, yeah, you're going to do this. That's not that hard. You get it out there and flip this sucker over. They're sacrificing stuff right when she flips, you know? And then you're able to... They're sacrificing. Then you're killing. And then they're discarding and milling. Like, that's a lot of shit. That's a lot of stuff happening there. So I like Shieldred staying in there. We talked about the showdown. We talked about song. Oh, we didn't talk about this one. The Bears of Litajara. So create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter. Any number of target shapeshifters become a 4/4. Choose up to one target creature or planeswalker each. No, I don't like this one. This one, it deals damage. This one I am not as big of a fan of. This one's getting land. Yes. This one's giving you rocks. I like that. And has damage built in. Read ahead on this one. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a creature or planeswalker card. They discard it. Search your library for a card. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle. That's a nice little tutor. A 5 tutor. I can dig that one. Because it fits in the theme. If it's a theme, it fits in the theme, I will use it. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. I like it because you could cast this for 5 late game and get something that somebody killed earlier or that died earlier, and now you have it. Or you can go search for the answer that you need. It's really nice being able to choose that. I like the read aheads because it adds almost instant protection for Tom if he's out, and or if Tom is out and you have other things that aren't getting to their final chapter that turn, you can make this get to the final chapter right away and then go get another saga as this hits the final chapter. So I like the read aheads. I'm hoping there might be more I'm hoping there will be more in the Lord of the Rings set, but we'll see. We already talked about the Elder Dragon War. This is kind of nice because it has also read ahead on that, but then you also has the 2 damage to each creature and each opponent. Most of my stuff should survive. There are some enchantresses that will die, but this has a little bit of removal and then potentially draw, or you just get in a 4/4 dragon hitting that final chapter. Talked about that. I don't know if we talked about the Aronian games, but I like that it's a 4/1, and each one is usable. You get a 1/1. You get 3 1/1 counters on Tom. If you can control a creature with 4 or greater, you're going to draw 2 cards off of Tom. And then you get a gold token, treasure, basically, for 3. That's pretty good. The long, we already did that one, did that one. Did we talk about this one? No, we did not. Waking the Trolls. You destroy a land. Ugh. Put target land from graveyard on the battlefield under your control. So you steal that land. Choose target opponent. If they control fewer lands than you, create a number of 4. Ugh. I don't like this one. I don't like destroying people's lands. So we're getting rid of that one. Okay. Woo! We made it through. And we got to 50. So we cut 30 cards in the initial going through the whole deck. That's pretty good. 30 cards. But now we have to cut 50. How the fuck are we going to do that? All right, let me just show you the lands really quick before we move on to going back and cutting stuff. All the dual lands are in here. We need all the duels. We need to be able to hit them. We have 5 fetches. Then we have Command Tower, Plaza of Heroes, Karn's Bastion, Nesting Grounds to be able to move counters from one target to another. So that's kind of nice. You're moving it from a saga, putting it on another, so you're able to do more of their abilities. Urza's Saga, of course, is in here. Urza's for life. Hashtag Urza's for life. Because it's also a saga. So that's really nice for hitting your final chapters. Not only do I go get my soul ring or whatever when it hits the final chapter, but I also get to have another saga enter the battlefield. So this is a really good bonus. First time I'm going to use Sarah's Sanctum in this, but you get 1 white for each enchantment you control. Sure, I'll do that. And then we used 5 of the triomes in this. All of them, I could have used 6 because there are 6 of them that have green in it. But I used all the ones that have, as you can see, let me scroll down. Highest colors are, well, blue was higher than this before I made cuts. But green, white, and blue are my highest colors. So each triome has, see, green, blue. Green, blue, white. So that one fits all 3 of them. There's my next one. Green, white. Green, blue. And isn't there one more? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Swear I have 5. How am I missing one? Oh, and then Hall of Heliod's Generosity. Oh, there it is. Green white here. So white was higher, so we got a lot more white in there. But Hall of Heliod, so we're bringing some of our enchantments back, putting it on top of our library, and it can tap for a color. So this is our mana base. With all the dorks I have, I may cut 2, but I don't even know what I'd want to cut. Because right now, this is like I had trouble figuring out which things land I wanted to cut. That took me like a while just to figure that out. So that is potentially 2 there that we could get rid of. Okay, so let's think this through a little bit. We need to get some stuff gone. Am I thinking too situational with Pariah? I think I might be. You know, I mean, it is indestructible. It does seem very nice. But we're trying to do Voltron, so we don't really need to worry about the damage coming through. So we're going to sideboard with that. We need to make it unblockable. We need to make it big, so we keep these there. Untapping my lands is very good. We got removal there. That's kind of a game winner. So these two do the similar things. I'm just looking to see if there's any of these that stand out that I don't want. Return any number of target aura and equipment. Now that we're cutting our auras down and we have other recursion stuff. Enters, return any number of target aura from your bottom, attach it to enchanted creature. So it does bring that. I may do that one to sideboard too. Protection from creatures. I like the unblockable part of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4 unblockable things. This just seems almost too, like, I know we have a little bit of removal, that's spot removal. But for 3, it's not doing much more than that. You know, the ward, is that enough? I don't think so. So we're going to get rid of that one. This has the draw with the totem armor on it. And then we got mana with that with a little bit. The ward is weird because it counters. But a lot of times people are like, well, can I take that back type of thing. But that's not how it works. Ward is supposed to be, if you don't have the 2 mana, that spell's countered and you're kind of screwed. So that's one thing that we have to get in the process of using more. You know, ward is a relatively newer mechanic. So this adds a little bit of protection there. But this is giving the mana. This actually probably has to go because my auras, I'm trying to focus on, it's making Tom win me the game. This isn't winning the game. It's adding more mana, making it so that he can tap for stuff. I want him to tap on the attack, not for mana. So we will do sideboard on that as well. All right, what do we got? So winning game, winning game, winning game. I like this for untapping your mana and protection. It has multiple things. Better protection than I think the ward, in my opinion. Because the ward, you can still target it if it is targetable. Game winner, game winner, game winner. Drawing. Wait. No, not drawing. Yep, drawing. Yes, this is for sure staying in there. Drawing, protection, game winner, game winner, game winner. Okay. I say game winner. I'm just making evasion, evasion, evasion. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 evasion auras, and we have 12 there. I think we're sitting pretty with 12. I like that number. Okay, now we get into counter manipulation. I like the proliferate. But this was one that I was kind of looking at. I'm gonna have to make another drink before my ice is all gone. Shoot. I'm just gonna pour a little bit of this Malibu Black. Happy birthday to me. Get my Diet Coke out of here. It's the thing about Malibu Black, if you guys ever get a chance to taste it, because it tastes like Malibu, it can sneak up on you. You can just pound a bunch of these and you're like, oh, it's Malibu. You can't get drunk off of Malibu. And then an hour later, you're drunk. Oh, dang it. I'm almost out of ice. All right. These are going to be some interesting drinks here. Okay. I wish I could use my phone right now, but that's my camera. Displacer Kitten. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile up to one target non-land permanent. I feel like I like the Flux better. But the Displacer Kitten could be really interesting because you're using your Saga stuff. I almost want to keep all this counter manipulation here. Like, I feel like all these need to stay. Because if you're able to use that and then flicker whatever you want, you get to hit that first part of the Saga again. And I really, really like that. So I think at this point we'll keep most of this stuff here. Draw, we're way high on the draw. It's just because a lot of these Sagas have the draw, like that third one is draw 2 cards. You know, we need all the enchantress stuff. So how many of the enchantresses do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? That almost hits the bottom of our draw. So, what are some things that we can kind of get out of there? Protection Racket could be good. It's funny because I'm just like, all these could be good. Maybe you cast an enchantment spell. You know what I feel like we have to hit first before we go to draw here? Is because these are all enchantment-based drawing stuff. I think we need to get our ramp rocks under control because that is a little out of hand with 13 to 17 and we are at 39. So this we need to figure out first before we move any further because this is going to be a big chunk of, technically if we get to our 17, that's going to cut out 22 cards. And that puts us easily, like a lot easier to hit stuff here. So, one caveat to it all is that it's 5 colors. So you really need to be focused on kind of that kind of stuff there. Decanter of the Endless Water. I'm kind of looking at our 2 drops and 1 drops because we really need to get started with stuff early. Forest card put on the battlefield tap for a 4. You're hitting your Saga later. Bear Umbra. So I kind of want to get rid of Exploration because there isn't a lot of putting into your hand. It's all like battlefield stuff. So reduce sideboard with that. This one's tough because you're getting the colors, but it is a nice little 1-drop mana dork. But I think I'm going to get rid of Decanter because it isn't an enchantment. Chromatic Lantern. I like that there. All right, let's just kind of go through them all. So we're hitting it on the second Saga there. We're hitting this on the... So this is taking over our Exploration. See, I lost all my ice. This could be a warm drink. All right. This one you're hitting on the second there. Black Market Connections, we talked about that's draw. That's nice. Part of me feels like I need to get rid of Chromatic. Sideboard. Any color. I like that it's giving me mana there. It is a 1-drop dork. Proliferating is amazing, especially with via fetches and everything. Felwar Stone, a 2-drop. Yeah, we like that. This is going to get lands put into play. Gives us 3 there. Saga. Land tax. I might get rid of land tax because we don't have enough basics necessarily. Yeah, sideboard. Lotus Cobra. Whenever land enters. Yeah. Mana Dork. Mana Dork. Mana. Put it into your hand. Smothering. I'm so tempted to get rid of Soul Ring in this. Staff. Sylvan. And getting treasure. All right, so we didn't whittle anything down. Oh, shoot. I'm kind of thinking for my dorks. I like that they can tap for any color, though. Well, I feel like Felwar is better because it's colorless. So we'll get rid of you. The Thopter is colorless. I want to keep Signet there. Anything that's 3, I need to kind of really think about. 3 or higher. This one adds the potentially 5. That's a really good mana dork there. That's a Saga. Proliferate is pretty good there. We might get rid of Sylvan there. Treasure, never using it for food. Who would use it for food? So this one, search your library for basic planes. So I have 2. This one worries me a little bit. I think that one's got to go. Oh, what did we get our sagas down to? 24. Okay, so we're in the main idea of 15 to 25. We don't need to have, a sweet spot might be 20 for our sagas. Because we have enough of the aura stuff. Oh, the things that have, I'm almost, I know it's a 1, but there isn't enough legendary stuff. How are our sagas? Are there legendary ones? Legendary there. No, they're just all enchantment sagas. So we're dealing with 2 of those. 3, 4. And then we know our other enchantress is 5 and our commander's 6. So I think we get rid of the halfling. I wanted to keep it in because it's part of the Lord of the Rings stuff, but I just can't keep it in there. All right. 31. 17. Okay. I think we're too based on the landfall stuff. Elf or elemental? Nissa. What do we got? Elf, we have 4. 0 elemental. So we would hit that. That. Where's our other elf? Or that. So every time we play a land, or the second time you play a land, if this is the second time it resolves, this turn reveal cards on top of your library. The card into your hand and the rest in the bottom of the library in a random order. So every time you do a fetch, you're either going to get this, that, ugh. I like the proliferation. But we got to get these down. So let's sideboard it. Lotus Cobra. I know I love being able to use any color there. But we really just need the dorks. The for sure I'm getting mana from. Where was our other one? I like that it makes the token and it stays there. That's different for me. Because I don't have to use it right there. You know, I can save the treasures. Okay. So we're in the 20s there. God, this might be a soul ring get rid of in this. Because it's colorless. Basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped. It's an enchantment, so you get the draw for that. Felwar, I like that. 2/2/2. All right, let's move away really quick. We got a few of these out of there. There isn't ones that are standing out to me that I want to get rid of, except for Soul Ring. So we're gonna move. We're gonna move around a little bit here. All right. Where did I? Oh, I was at draw. Draw was our other one that we needed to kind of mess with. So draw. See if we can get the draw within that 12 to 18 range, which I want to be on the 18 range, maybe even 20. And we get the ramp rocks in that range. Then that's the deck. Like, really, that's where we're at with this. So the draw stuff I got to get figured out here. So I think I have too many enchantress stuff. So I think the best thing to do here is if we can find ones that are not cast triggers. This one's staying in because it's a protect in itself. It's fantastic. This one's not a cast trigger. This one is not a cast trigger when an ETB. Those ones for sure staying, for sure staying, for sure staying because it's that. This one being an enchantment as well is nice. So for me, this one has a stipulation. If you do more than one, you don't get the bonus. So I'm going to pop this one out. This one being 3 colors. I'm going to get rid of that one as well. Sideboard. I like the recursion with this because this has 2 things. Recursion and draw. So I like that that's hitting that. This, gaining the life off of that. You're drawing every time you're doing it. Miri's Guile. Let's move that around. Sideboard. Mystic Remora. I prefer to have that in Protection Racket. Blah, blah, blah. There and there. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. So it does give us creatures. We're down to 34. We're making progress here. All right, here's another one. So how many do we have now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 enchantresses that draws cards. Is there anything sticking out that doesn't seem... I like Protection Racket, but I think we have enough draw on this that we don't need to worry about Protection Racket being in here. Especially, actually, Protection Racket, we may want mana. So a lot of times what happens with Protection Racket is you hit those mana and everybody's like, oh, yep, throw that in the graveyard, throw it in the graveyard, throw it in the graveyard. It's like, we kind of need that in this because we have the 5 colors and everything. All right, is the Kami War even, is it good enough to keep in here? Does have the removal. because it's 5. But it does have the recursion. Keeping it for now. It's one of our bigger, badder recursion stuff. We got it down to 25, so I wanted to get down 5 more. This guy, he's okay. I mean, he's good. You get the draw. Snake Umbra. I think I'm gonna get rid of Snake. What are our auras get down to? We're at 11. Bear Umbra I like so much more because of untapping the lands. That's pretty much it with that. I like that that's a 1-drop. I actually like it better than this one. Because this one, I'm not having a lot of artifacts. As you can see, there's only 7. So this one's better, and it gives the first strike. Boop, boop. That gives you the 2+2. I like this batch of stuff. Like, these are solid for doing our stuff there. So, all right. My double white. Cast an enchantment spell. What did I say? We had 1, 2, 3. This is on it going to the graveyard. But it's anytime. So if anybody has a mass kill. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I wouldn't consider this a draw, but you can do it on that turn. Everything else kind of has the they fit with the draw, but it's not really, because this is the Saga at the 3rd one, then you draw. So I kind of don't want to get rid of any of our other enchantress stuff, because that is kind of the key part of this deck, is casting the Saga, replacing the Saga, casting the Saga, replacing the Saga. Tom Bombadil's ability, replace the Saga as the Saga goes away. So I kind of want all that stuff to stay in there. Mystic I like because it's a 1-drop, but maybe it just doesn't... We're getting enough draw from everything else? The hindrance of Mystic I like and Ristic is because... Mystic and Ristic. Because it makes people try to decide what they're going to do that turn. They don't want you to draw more cards. So even getting this late game is fine because you're going to draw off of your enchantress stuff. But again, we have 31 cards to cut here. So maybe some of this stuff... I mean, I guess I'm already too much of a dick deck that I don't need the Ristic in there. Balls. All right. Draw we'll move away from a little bit here. Enchantment bonuses. All right. Well, yeah, we haven't touched this one in a little bit here. Okay. That fits with these guys, but some of these other ones, is that... Yeah, we can make an army there. I think I might get rid of Starfield. I know making our stuff cost less is good. It's always fun. But because they aren't enchantments, it's a little harder for me. I like the 1, 2, 3 punch with those guys. I think that's the only other thing that's different. Although this one's making copies of them. I like the duplicates, but I don't know if that's strong enough to keep in there. When I was goldfishing that, I never played it. Even though it's an enchantment and it's a creature, it never worked out the way I wanted it to. Okay, so we got 15 of those. All right, let's get down to our protection. What do we have for our protection again? So we have that. Flawless maneuver. We're getting down on our creature stuff. We're just assuming that Tom has his protection. If somebody's wiping everything just to get rid of Tom, then fine, they got rid of it. It's like any other commander. It's just the nice thing about Tom is he has a built-in protection. So let's move that to sideboard. I dig these two because it's permanence. So we're protecting our enchantments. Not protecting. This is stopping anybody from attacking us. Have Shroud. Yes. Jafiri. I don't know why. Oh, it's because it's giving protection from. I think I just want to remove. Oh, no. I guess it has the protection. Yeah. Is this too niche for what I'm... The only reason I'm thinking is because the sagas end and then you wanting to bring them back. So that was kind of my thought with this one. And in Goldfishing, it did end up working out pretty good with that. Protection 10. 6 to 12. I can dig what we have here. Sphere of Safety is just going to hinder people from attacking me. I guess that's good because if we're doing Voltron, you aren't playing with a lot of creatures. Okay. Ramp rocks again. Wait, let's hit some other things just to make sure. Removal. Felt good with the sagas. Felt good with that. Felt good with that. Removal package feels good. The removal package. Oh. We're almost at that 2-hour mark and we're at 27 cuts left. 2 of them can be land. What are they going to be? We're not going to focus on land, but that could go down to 36 if we have enough. But we're playing a 5-color deck, so we want to be a little bit higher on the land. Saga-wise, any sagas stand out that you guys don't like? I like this one. It has removal and ramp. The Warhammer ones are the ones that get me a little bit. Like, we only have 1 left of the Warhammers. Those are the ones I spec'd on right away. I was like, oh, Warhammer. Yeah, grab those. And now I'm like, cut. This one might be a little too much. For 7. Yeah. That's a little much. And this was my other one. That's for 3. Is it doing enough? Each player mills 4 cards, then you may exile a creature or planeswalker from each graveyard. Interesting. Could do some stuff. Like how that hits everything there. Each opponent sacrifices a creature, sacrificing. This is just based more on the recursion and hitting other. I like that it's a 3-drop, but I'm not as big of a fan with it because I'm not gonna hit many creatures of mine because I'm not gonna have a lot of them. So everything else here is usable, right? Yes. Yep. Wait. 4 cards. Yeah, that's giving me some draw a little bit there. I like the read ahead. I want more of those, especially for this deck. Okay, so we're down to 22. We're sitting pretty good right there. $25 cards to cut. Really, probably like 23 because of the lands I still need to touch up a little bit. Okay, we figured our auras was good. Counter manipulation was good. Besides, these 2 are my only 2 that I'm hesitant on. And I think I'm gonna get rid of Displacer Kitten. It's on sideboard. I will have to clean up my sideboard when I'm all done here. There's just ones that I'm like, nope, that one's out. This one's in, out, in. I think because we have enough enchantments, I think we're just going to do Mystic Remora and Rhystic Study to the side. We have enough enchantment-based drawing that I don't think we need to draw off of everybody else casting shit. I like Smugglers. I'm not saying I like it better than Rhystic Study, but I like this because it gives me the treasure stuff. We're dealing with a 5-color deck and draw, you know, like people aren't going to stop doing their lands or drawing more cards. And this is, you're going to draw cards from that. I know Rhystic Study, you're going to draw every, you're going to piss people off. You're going to pay one. You're going to pay one. You're going to pay one. And Mystic Remora is really good to get early game. But we got enough other things going on here. I think we can be fine with it. So draw is down to 22. We're getting close. I think if I got to 20 with my draw, I'd be fine. So is there 2 others that I want to cut? I want to keep Sylvan Library. We don't want any of the Sagas gone. There isn't any that are standing out. And I don't even know if I would consider this a draw. It's just a Saga, in my opinion. And we got to play this reserve list card. When else are you going to play this? It fits perfect with Sagas leaving the battlefield. All right. We'll move down to enchantment bonus stuff. Nope, we already did that. This is why you sometimes need a break. We're still with Ramp Rocks is where our stuff doesn't mix very well. Okay. Soul Ring. Doing it. Soul Ring's gone. This is the second deck. The 5-color decks, I've killed Soul Ring because it's 5 colors. Soul Ring doesn't help necessarily because I need color, not colorless. So I'd much rather have a 2-drop Arcane Signet. I know it's ridiculous. Soul Ring should be in almost every deck. But it can't. It can't be in every single deck. I'd rather take a Birds of Paradise. And remember, we're heavy on the green. So green land, we have all the duels, but then we are focused on every triome is a green. So we're going to have green. Green should be the focus of this. So we're going to have these guys. That's a nice enchantment. This hits us with other colors. What is the Noble? This is my blue, though. But it's a 1-drop. 1-drop Mono Rock, Mono Dork. Felwar. Yes. But what I'm trying to do is, like, we're doing enchantment-based ramp. So that if I get them late, if I get an Arcane Signet mid-game and I cast it and I have all these enchantresses out, it doesn't help me much. You know, it gives me mana. I like that. But it doesn't really help me much. That's where I'm not saying I'm cutting it, but that's why I cut Soul Ring, because Soul Ring, yeah, it gives you 2 colorless, but that doesn't help with Tom unless he gets killed. It helps with, you know, the colorless part of stuff, but I need any color in a way. Shit. It's pretty good though, because we're at 180, so we've cut 59 cards so far, and I'm determined to finish this. I got 10 minutes before that 2-hour mark of where I get burnt out. Does Bear Umbra just not work in this? Like, I love that it's when a creature attacks, untap all your lands, though. I love Bear Umbra. I've been using it a lot lately because it's fun to keep casting stuff. Yeah, and Omen's really nice. 3 there. It's at flash speed, which is really nice. So these are taking over your cultivates because you're tapping 3, putting in the battlefield tapped. Well, that one's tapped. That one's tapped as well. Maybe our Ornithopters is not the way to go because we are green heavy. And we are trying to stay artifact or enchantment based. Dudes, it's happening. You guys are going to hate it. It's not necessarily the smartest thing, but it's going to start sideboard. Where is it? Where is it? Where's my last one? There it is, Falwar. Because I'd much rather have a 1-drop green because I should have green. We have 5, 6, 7, 8, plus another 5, 13, 14 potential lands that are green. And then if you add the fetches in there, we have 19 lands that should get me a green. And so I should be able to cast most of these dorks in here. And I'm kind of going back to when I built my Scion of the Ur-Dragon. It was based off of green heavy to get your dorks out, and then flipping over to, doing the 5-color stuff. You're getting cards like Dryad wasn't there, but, Chromatic Lantern, stuff to be able to make all your lands any color. But the beginning game, you're trying to get your green stuff out. All right, so dorks, we're at 25. We're still high, which I'm not frowning on. So now we just need to kind of look at some other things. Smothering Tithe is going to stay in there because we need treasures. We need that more than our draw because we have quite a bit of draw in this, especially with the enchantress stuff. I'm feeling the Malibu Black now. It's towards the end of it. I'm not going to pour a warm drink, so I'm going to drink my ice water after this. Fizzy ice drinks. Happy birthday. We're down to 18 cards. We're in the teens. I dig that a lot, actually. And I might get this down to 10. Let's get rid of 1 here. With hexproof and that, I want to keep this. I want to keep this. Keep. All that glitters might be the one that's going. But it is making that. Here's the thing, though. It is what's making Tom huge. Like, if I play Spirit Mantle on this, yeah, sure. It's a 5/5 unblockable. But all that glitters gets that much bigger. It's a 5/5 at least. You should have a lot more than that. So, is there something else? We have the unblockable. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 unblockable. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 for the enchantment boost. Bear Umbra, Eldrazi. God, I feel like this is like a really good number. I want to really quick do something here. Let's just play test really quick. All right. So this is, I just want to see. So we're drawing here. This is how you start your game. This is how you start Magic, guys. This is what you do. So I just want to see how everything kind of plays out. So I play that next turn. All right. So we got an Enchantress in there. We got our green because we got that. So we're going to play our dual land. We get our Enchantress out. And we go next turn. All right. So now, is there planning here? We need blue. We have swamp. We have swamp there. So we play that. If we play an enchantment, we get the draw. So yeah, we will play. Yep, we got our black. So we play Black Market. Draw off of that. Okay. Next turn. So we are what? Turn 4 at this point. See, that's the nice thing is this is all kind of set up. We have no sagas at this point going on. So I would throw out probably a swamp. Oh, we probably have a treasure. We'd probably get another draw. I definitely would. So we go down like 3 life. I probably wouldn't get a swamp there because we would have got that in there. All right, so proliferate. Nothing's going to help with proliferation there. We have no saga, so we're looking to draw is what we're running into a problem with. So we throw that out there. We get the deck. Let's just try to find a triome. Because I don't... 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so we'll get a triome. Throw that out there. It would be tapped. We'd be able to play that and that in this turn. And then we go to next turn. All right, so now we're getting enchantments. We're going to draw for that. We're going to draw an extra because of that. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3. We have 2 treasure tokens. So we get that out, draw a card. Crazy, we're not hitting any sagas. I'm only stopping this because we didn't hit sagas there. It would have been a fine game. We would have looked not threatening at all. So I would have been fine with that. Like you're building up, you have enough mana and stuff like that. I wouldn't cast Tom Bombadil until I was getting sagas out. So let me do one more thing. Sorry. I'm going to do it one more time. Let's see. We got 2, 3. Okay. We have 4 lands. We draw for our first. All right. So we have a Noble Hierarch. So we want that out. So we're going to get that and that out next turn. So we have the 2. Sylvan Library. Let's throw a Triome tapped. Next turn would be we're looking at 4 cards. So we're going to go 2, 3, or 4 cards? 3 cards. 3 cards. How would we have this? Well, we want to draw. We want to protect. So we don't need to take 4 damage yet. And we don't need to do that yet. So what was the first one? Yeah, we don't need that first. We need that second. So now we have 3 plus whatever we play here. So with 4, we're not going to be able to do much, but we want our enchantress out. So we will do our 3. Actually, we would do another triome because that would come into play tapped. So that would be our turn. Next turn, we draw that card. So now we're going to start ramping stuff. So we're going to do 1, 2. This gets into play. We draw another card. So these 2 are used. I guess we can tap it. So we have 2 there. We've not played our land yet. 1, 2, 3. So we can hit 2 here. We don't need to fight anything, but we can draw some stuff. So let's just pretend this goes out. Draw another card. And then we would use this and go get, let's just do Triome again. Because we don't care that it comes into play tap. So we got all the Triomes. We don't have all of them. The other ones aren't named Triome, which was the biggest mistake that they fucking ever did. It's just like, why did you name everything Triome? Like, that doesn't make any sense. All right, so then we go to our next turn. So we'd have to draw 3 cards. Because we're going to look at it all. Okay, so we have protection. We have duplicates of our sagas. We don't have a saga yet. We have another enchantress. And we have this. We have a saga over here. Sorry, we don't have it in play. So I would throw... Well, let's see. We'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So after your draw phase, add a lore counter, sacrifice after 3. My question with that one is, we're adding 1 red. So we'd add it to that, obviously. But my steps there, add a lore counter after add a lore counter, sacrifice after 3. So it's during my draw step. You lose that. That is not very good ramp, actually. I like the gaining the life in the third one, or the last one, but you're losing that red mana unless you have an instant spell to, so it's completely pointless. The fighting part was the removal. So it might be something that I look into getting rid of. So right now, this is... We're sitting pretty with this. Anytime that we're going to cast stuff here, so this is on Saga 2. I don't remember when I cast that one. I've been drinking now. So this one would be a fun game. This one, I like how that one would shake out. But what that is, part of the reason that that one is sticking around. Where are you, Sagas? I like that it's a 2, but put 2 counters up to gain life equal to grace. I don't know if I like that much because you have to use it in that draw step. After your draw step, add a lower counter. Oh, no, I guess you go into your next. It's after your draw step. So you draw, then you add the lower counter, but I'm pretty sure that you would lose that. There's only one person on it at this point. I'm pretty. Hey, you know what we can do? Is do a little scryfall action. Let's check it out. Scryfall. What card are we looking at here? We are looking at Arnie. Let's see if there's rulings there. For the first chapter, blah, 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 blah. Chapter 2 ability isn't a mono ability. It uses a stack and it can be responded to. You choose no targets for chapter 2. You simply add. However, if you choose to target creature you control, blah, 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 that's not helping. None of this is helping. Yeah, none of that is helping me. Remove or counters. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive that you would lose that one red. Which, that's not the reason that it's in here. But it does make it a lot less good. Because you got to use it right there. My biggest thing in there is the removal. We're at 8 removal. Yeah, we're at the low end of it. So I kind of need to keep that in there. Okay, so we fucked around with it a little bit. Let's see if there's anything else. I think this is probably too situational, maybe. Privileged position. Sphere of safety is really going to help. We got protection. We're looking to protect our enchantments. Although, as we've said on the cast before, enchantments are one of the least removed things in the game. But you can get fucked with it. The whatchamacallit card. See, now the booze is kicking in at this point. Every time a creature comes into play, people destroy an artifact or enchantment. That can really screw an enchantment style deck. All right, so we're at 18 cards to get rid of. I feel like the auras was fine. Counter manipulation, it's fine. We're at 29 creatures, so that should work. I don't like that this is a sorcery speed. I really wish it wasn't. But I think it works fine in this. It has multiple uses because we have counter manipulation and recursion built in on it. Oh, we're now well over the 2 hours. Not well, we're just 2 hours and 4 minutes. Oh, gang. I don't know if I can go much longer without getting my brain a break. I might just have to finish this after my birthday. Because I need to think about it a little bit more and give it a little bit of playthrough like I was doing there. I just need to play through some stuff. Let's get this down. 2 more cuts. And then we'll call her a night. Sagas. Like the removal. I don't know if I like this one as much. I play an additional land, sure. I like that it's 2. I think that's one of our cuts. And I wanted this down to 20, so I said 2 cuts. So is there They're not all sagas. I mean, that turns into a saga. That's kind of a saga. My issue, and this is why I'm glad I'm putting this as sideboard, is you get too low on these sagas, you're not going to hit them. Well, that's not a good example. I proved myself wrong. I have 3 sagas in the opening hand. Let's restart and see that again. 1 there, which is fine. Then we do a draw. Let's do another restart. 0 or 1 there. 1, 2. Okay. I mean, if you plan things out a little bit, I guess it could work. All right. I might not go down to 20, especially since one of those are not sagas, really. I mean, this one, you copy it, and these 2 aren't sagas. So I might keep it at 21, but okay. That might be it, guys. I think I have to take a break. 2 hours kind of gets my brain a little bit like I need to take a step back from this and play test it a little bit. And I don't want to bore people with play test. But that's what I got to do before I do this. So I'm going to actually try to finish this deck this week. Not necessarily tonight, obviously, but I'm going to try to finish this so I can have it ready for SmithCon in a few weeks. So yeah. So if you guys have some suggestions, make sure to put it in the comments. Maybe cards I was missing, maybe some cuts that you guys don't like, or cards that you don't like in here, and you're like, hey, this doesn't make sense. That always helps. And we do check the comments and everything. So please put that in the comments below. I don't think, did I draw? I got to do this really quick. No, you know what? I was going to do the Stump the Smith Savant. It's normally, if we miss it, it's the next person in line. So I'm going to keep it as that. That should do it for tonight. Probably check you guys maybe on Sunday. Depends how I feel after my birthday. I'm going to be having more of these. But thank you guys all for joining tonight. Make sure, subscribe to the channel if you are watching and you're new. If you are not new, just like it. That helps us out. Thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. See ya. Bye. Saga.